Joe Biden was recently given a press conference and he was asked by a reporter, why is he pulling the country so far left?
How many more hours am I doing this? I'm happy to stick around. You always ask me the nicest questions. I know you do.
All right.
None of them make a lot of sense to me, but
Well, let's try.
Fire away. Come on.
A new year. Why are you trying so hard in your first year to pull the country so far to the left?
Well, I'm not. I don't know what you consider to be too far to the left. If in fact we're talking about making sure that we had the money for COVID, making sure we had the money to put together the bipartisan infrastructure, making sure we were able to provide for those things that in fact would significantly reduce the burden on working class people, but make them, they have to continue to work hard. I don't know how that is pulling it to the left. If you may recall, you guys have been trying to convince me that I am Bernie Sanders. I'm not. I like him, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been. And mainstream Democrats have overwhelmed me. If you notice, the 48 of the 50 Democrats supported me in the Senate on virtually everything I've asked. Yes, sir.
Here we go, man. Here we go. I got to tell you, when I first saw this, I was, to be quite honest with you, enraged. And I was enraged not because of any kind of response that Biden gave. We'll get into that in just a second. But I'm enraged because this shit keeps happening. It keeps popping up. I don't think this is ever going to go away. It's never going to go away. This notion that these corporate Democrats, which is what Biden is, he's basically a Republican, a moderate Republican, that those people are somehow leftists and dragging the country left. What I'm trying to get at is that that is so disrespectful to actual leftists, actual socialists, social democrats, libertarian socialists, whatever they want to label themselves. That's so fucking disrespectful. And it pisses me off every time I hear it because it's just simply not true. But let's get into this. But first of all, let me just stop right there. Before I get into this, it's important for me to say this. That reporter, I don't know his name, I don't know who he is, that reporter that asked Biden that question, he has a job to do. His job is the following. His job is to make it seem like things that are good for the mass of people, things that are good for the working class, things that overwhelmingly benefit the majority and not the business class, not the owner class, not the rich, are inherently bad. And they label those things under an umbrella of terms: too far left, socialist, communist, and all the rest of it. You know the names, right? And so they label these things like something like universal healthcare, something that every other developed country has. They are better in healthcare. They beat us by far and away. They have the best systems. Every time we're ranked in terms of our healthcare system, we're dead last. We're always last. We're nowhere near the top. They save tons of money, right? They take a policy like that, a policy that the overwhelmingly majority of the people support, and they say that, oh, that's socialized medicine. Ah, that's too far left. You really want government-run healthcare? You know, the spin they put on shit? They do that because they don't want those kind of policies implemented because they have a job to do. Their job is to spew propaganda to distort the minds of the American people to make them think, oh no, I don't actually want to improve my life because he just called it too far left. He just called it socialist, something that's incredibly benign that every other country has far eclipsed at this point in time. That's what his job is. That's what all of their job is to run propaganda. And this type of shit is in the face of everybody in America, 24/7 on CNN, Fox News, all these mainstream corporate outlets. That's all they say all day, every day. The policies that will help you is bad because of whatever. Now that we got his job title out of the way, he's a propagandist, okay? Don't forget that. Let's move on to Joe Biden's response. And this might be the truest thing that Joe Biden has ever said since he's entered the White House. He says, I'm not bringing the country too far left. Look at that. Look at that. Look at Joe. Look at Joe being honest. Yeah, he's not. He's not. He's not doing that. And you know what's funny? You know the irony here? He says that he's not pulling the country too far left, when in fact, what the country wants is to move in a leftward direction. That's the irony here. You know, he calls himself a mainstream Democrat. He's no mainstream Democrat. He's a right-wing Democrat. You want to know why? Because in terms of mainstream opinion, people support what he would consider to be too far left. People support a single-payer healthcare system. People support a living wage. People support free college. People support nationalizing big pharma, lower drug prices. People support unions. People support all the rest of these things that they would consider to be too far left. Why would people not want to improve their living conditions? We don't have a paid sick leave law in this country. Paid medical leave and paid family leave. We don't have it. In the middle of a pandemic, we don't have it. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, how can you call yourself mainstream when your opinions are not mainstream, sir? You have nothing to promote but Reaganomics and other bullshit. That's not what the people want. Why would they want things that would make their life worse? I'm genuinely confused. And to put the cherry on top here, what does he do? He takes a dig at Bernie Sanders. Amazing. Amazing. The man that has completely subjugated himself, the man that has committed his 100% subservience to you and the corrupted Democratic Party, once again, he comes around to spit in the eye of the man that has surrendered himself completely to helping you become the president. Isn't that just fine and dandy? I got to be honest. I don't know how Bernie does it, honestly. And, you know, I used to lose respect for the man, but at this point, it is what it is. Bernie, he can, look, he's more than grown. He can do what he wants. But all I'm going to say is this. It's sad. It's really sad. You know, he does all he can. You know, he supports these people, these corrupted, evil people, and they just spit in his eye and step on his toes every chance they get. Asked if he's bringing the country too far left. Instead of just rebuking that, which he did, which is true because he's not, he takes a jab at Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist like that guy. I'm different from that guy. I beat that guy, remember? Amazing. Remember when he said it in the debate? I'm not the socialist, I beat the socialist. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Bernie Sanders got a verbal agreement from this guy to implement a $15 minimum wage. Hasn't even done that. I mean, look, I got to be honest. After 2016, first of all, they screwed him over. The Democratic establishment screwed Bernie over in 2016. They once again screwed him over in 2020. And he still gave them all he had. After 2016, if I'm Bernie Sanders, I'm like screaming from the hilltops, boycott the Democratic Party. I would have been so done. I would have just been running around state to state calling for a revolution. Call it feudal. I don't care. I would have did it. Now, don't get me wrong. He'd be hated even more than he is right now. But look, I have a very short temper. I wouldn't have lasted as long as he's lasting right now. There's no way you keep taking these slight jabs at me. Not even slight jabs, these hard jabs at me. And I return, by, giving you all I got. He says that 48 out of 50 Dems supported him, Democratic senators. Guess who's a part of that 48? Bernie Sanders. But you wouldn't think so, would you? Man, oh man, this is amazing here. This is amazing. Asked if he's bringing the country too far left, he outright rebukes that and says that he's a mainstream Democrat. No, you're the kind of Democrat that people hate. You're the Democrat that promotes neoliberalism. You know what? If you were such a mainstream Democrat and what you were doing is working, why is your approval rating 33% right now? Why is your approval rating lower than Donald Trump's lowest approval rating, which was 34%? Why are people not liking the Democrats? Why are more people flocking to vote Republican? Why are more people flocking to not vote at all? Why is it that every poll shows us that Democratic Party is going to face a sweep in these upcoming midterm elections? And what are you going to say then? Oh, I got to be more centrist. When is it going to click in your 102-year-old mind that what you're doing and have been doing for the past, 30 years, 40 years, isn't working. But you know what? One, I don't think it ever will. Two, even if it has the possibility of happening, it gets suppressed. Why? Because they're corrupt. They're not governing for the interest of the American people. They're governing for the interest of their corporate donors that fund their campaigns and give them money. That's what they're doing. That's it. So they don't really care about winning. They probably know they're going to get destroyed in the midterms. They probably know it. They probably expect it, but they don't really care because at the end of the day, that money's going to keep rolling in, man. It's going to keep rolling in. And questions like this are going to keep coming up. And they're going to keep trying to convince you that better things aren't possible for you because they're simply too far left. I got to be honest, man. This stuff is going to turn me into the Grim Reaper. I'm not going to make it. I'm seriously not going to make it, bro. It feels like everything is fake. It feels like nothing is real. Sometimes it feels like nothing matters, but try not to let yourself sink into those dark places, but fuck it, it happens.